Welcome back to the Spiritually Sober podcast. I'm Kat.
And I'm Kyrstyn.
And this is the sobriety podcast with a spiritual twist where we just chat about our experiences in our sobriety journey and just how we utilize things like spirituality, mindfulness, self-awareness, and self-healing to just enhance sober living. So what have you got for me today, Kyrstyn?
Acceptance. I know, that's weird.
Yeah.
Acceptance is the topic of this episode. The last episode was us identifying that an addiction exists. And now we're going to talk about how we accepted that we do have an addiction to something. Number 2 in our little journey. And that, I think, is even harder for people than identifying it. We can identify it in other people all day long, but when it comes down to it, no one wants to be like, hey, I have a problem.
Well, it's even like you can know that you have a problem, but acceptance, I feel like, comes with a state of taking responsibility.
Yes.
It bugs me more than anybody who, like, when people just do the whole, yep, I have a problem, this just is how I am, and you're gonna just have to accept it. Like,
yes.
That's not the goal here.
No, we need to accept it ourselves. And I mean, that's accepting, it's opening our heart to the realities of our life and what we, like, the decisions that we've made and how it's impacted what we've done and all of our life choices. So we need to accept that before we can do anything else.
So what does acceptance mean to you?
Being okay with the things I did, like not necessarily blaming, like, hey, I was this shitty person because of my addiction, but it's, hey, I behaved this way while I was doing that, and that was wrong. I'm not okay with it, but I'm okay with it. Like,
I have an interesting question for you. Over, 7 years of being sober, do you think that your definition of acceptance has changed?
Yeah. I mean, it's really funny because I don't even know when I accepted it. Like, and the coolest part, like, especially doing all the research for all of these episodes, is I am learning so much as well. Like, I didn't necessarily go about my recovery process in the quote unquote right way, but
quote unquote. I love that.
Yeah.
Because there is no right way, let's be clear.
Yeah, there is no right way, but it's almost like I am going through this journey. I'm starting over. Mm-hmm. Like, so 7 years sober, and now I am using these tools that we are teaching people, myself, to understand everything and how I've even gotten this far.
Yeah.
Like, without even knowing it, like, I have done these things, but I can't pinpoint when.
There's a certain level of self-reflection that has to come with acceptance.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And acceptance, I think, for me, self-reflection and understanding. I truly was able to step into more of a place of acceptance for who I am, for what I've accomplished, all these things. Once I was able to reflect and understand why I did what I did, or what I do, or how my emotions respond to things, like why I want that drink so bad. When I can finally start to understand why I want those things, that it was so much easier for me to start accepting it.
Yes.
Because acceptance, it comes with, it's just the weird level of, like, you have to take responsibility.
Yes.
The bullshit behind, like, oh yeah, I accept, this is just how I am, and I accept that for what it is, and people just need to put up with it. That's like the, you're almost there, but not quite.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and it's hard because, like, we have to accept this part of ourselves. We're not going to accept anything if we don't accept ourselves. Like, so self-acceptance, is the biggest thing, and that's the hardest thing for people to learn. Like, and honestly, that's why I say, like, I don't know when I accepted that I had an issue, because this entire time I've been working on accepting myself You know, and I'm finally getting to a point where I'm like I accept the decisions that I made. I understand why they are there. I identified how it came about, and that it existed. Like, I am where I am because it existed. But yeah, acceptance. I mean that could be something that you do your entire recovery. Like, is still, but you can't do it without self-acceptance.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a lot that I learned while researching.
I think gratitude is really huge too for self-acceptance or acceptance in anything, because gratitude is really used. I think it's something that people are like, oh yeah, just be grateful. It's fine. It's cool. But if you guys really start to understand like brain science, neuroscience, chemistry, like reprogramming your brain for more positivity. And I mean, when you struggle with addiction, and are trying to do things like get clean or get sober, you are having to try to change your brain chemistry that you fucked up when you were drinking. And so learning how to change that brain chemistry, things like gratitude help reprogram our brain to be more. I mean, gratitude really kind of means something different to everyone, but my overall blanket to the word gratitude is learning how to find peace and joy with what you have in the current present moment. Gratitude is about being so incredibly present with right now. It's not being afraid about the future. It's not, beating yourself up for the past mistakes you've made. But it's about being so present right now and finding happiness in the present moment. And when your brain is searching for things to be grateful for rather than searching for things that you lack and you can't do well, it's a completely different experience that you have, like with your perspective on life. Yeah. And so something like I remember when I was going through my positive psychology schooling and stuff, one of the studies that I read was talking about how they integrated a positive psychology or gratitude practice into schools, where these elementary schoolers needed to write down what they were grateful for or what they enjoyed that day at the end of every day. So now that they knew they had this assignment that they had to go then write at the end of the day that what they were grateful for, throughout the entire day their brain then became like a scanning machine in their environment, trying to find things that they love and that they're grateful for so they can write it down on the paper later that day. Yeah. And you start doing stuff like that all the time, your brain then starts to do it naturally because those neural pathways are just so natural. And so, yeah, I feel like gratitude is huge with acceptance because you're trying to truly, it's not even, I know a lot of people who say they're grateful without truly feeling gratitude. Like, I'm grateful for having this car without truly feeling gratitude for having it. Yeah. Type of a thing. Yeah. I mean, which is valid. Because there's a struggle with shame and shaming yourself for having gratitude, or like, oh, I should be happy because with this food I have now because kids are starving in Africa. Yeah. Where that's just you shaming yourself. Yeah. Which is a slippery slope to go down. But yeah, that's my take on gratitude there. Felt very called to talk about that. It's important.
I feel like I have notes for a whole episode on gratitude.
Yeah. I have an entire module in my course for my 101 girls talking about gratitude as a tool. Yeah. A powerful tool to help, rewire your brain. It helps you. Ooh, ice. Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard that. That's the ice machine. I get excited when it refills up because we keep it pretty empty all day long. But gratitude is an incredible tool for manifestation, for energy blocks, for creativity blocks, just for finding overall and general happiness and more spontaneous positive thinking versus the intrusive negative thoughts. Like yes. What?
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. I see both sides because you, like, these negative thoughts, I don't want to say you need to have them, but you need to acknowledge them because absolutely. When you're trying to accept everything you've done, like, I can think back to all the shitty things that I've done, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, and all of, like, so yes, you need to be grateful for now. Like, obviously you're here, you're listening to this. Like, I am grateful for everything. Like I said in a previous episode, like I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be alive, like if I wasn't, 7 years sober. But I have to also, in the process of accepting everything that has to do with my sobriety, like, I mean, I still have to think back, like, I hurt these people. I hurt myself.
Absolutely.
I did these things. This is why I am where I am today, is so that I don't continue that vicious cycle.
Absolutely.
So yes, gratitude it plays a huge part. But that doesn't mean forget everything bad you've ever done. Like,
yeah, I know.
Accept it and move on.
Spiritual bypassing is like, it's a really dangerous thing with spirituality, especially, we're a spiritual sobriety podcast. But I want you guys to really take into consideration and be mindful of spiritual bypassing. This is a phenomenon that happens especially when people are just getting into spirituality and having their spiritual awakening, but it can be really easy. I've seen people get caught up in it who've been, quote unquote, spiritually woke for years. But it's this idea that we have to do like toxic positivity. We have to be positive and have happy, high vibes all of the time, where we don't allow ourselves to, one, see the negative parts of ourselves and see the shadow sides of ourselves, but two, we don't allow ourselves to even feel negative emotions, which, if we all know, if you're here, you probably have experienced the whole, I'm just going to shove all this emotional turmoil down deep, and we'll get to it on a later date that never comes, and then it builds up, and then emotional overwhelm and self-destructing behaviors inserted here happens.
Yeah.
And it can be a dangerous process. So understanding that things like positivity, like, don't get caught up in this, I have to be positive all of the time, because you're not. That's not how this works. Your positive and negative are just, one, it's very subjective. Sometimes, people love pain and they're into that. So it really is completely subjective onto your experience, but they're supposed to have tools. We live in a universe and in a reality that is, we have the ups and the downs. It's a cycle. It's duality. And you have to have the contraction before you can have any sort of expansion. So you have to allow yourself. I tell my clients, you make your most money in your darkest days, because that's where you have the opportunity to look at it and learn something from it.
Yeah.
They teach us, it's really the opposite in school. In school, it's, you try to memorize and learn the lesson, and then you take the test. Where in reality, you get the test, and then you have to have the opportunity to learn your lesson from it.
Yeah.
In school, we're just taught to memorize, and see how well you memorized it. Cool. Where, the reality in the real world is a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very true. So I have a quote that actually I posted in the Facebook page, and I want to see. Which,
if you haven't joined, come join us in the Facebook group on Facebook, Spiritually Sober Facebook group.
Yes.
Link in bio.
Link in bio. Yeah, so we'll see what you think about it. So Deepak Chopra said, "Nothing brings down walls as surely as acceptance."
Acceptance shows a different stage, or a stage of vulnerability. And to truly be vulnerable and bring down your walls, you have to feel a sense of safety and security. And to feel safe and secure, acceptance is definitely one of those things.
Yeah.
Or it's, even if you're ever stepping into a situation where you're not going to be accepted by the people around you, it's knowing that you trust yourself enough, that you accept yourself enough to be able to handle any situation that comes.
Yeah, kind of when you and I got together.
Yeah, and also don't put yourself around shitty people. Yeah, a little bit how we got together.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like, when you have self-acceptance, that plays into a lot more things. That plays into your confidence. That plays into how you deal with the world. And like, that's a big thing. Like, thinking positive, like you said, being kind to yourself, finding support. Like, people are so afraid to ask for help. You still find support, and you don't have to be like, hey, I need your help. Hey, I need your help.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just surround yourself with the people that understand. Again, what the Facebook page is for.
Yes, please come hang out with us on the Facebook page, guys. You need to surround yourself with people that you can somewhat relate and coexist with.
Yes.
Because if you're around other people who are pulling you down over and over and over again, you're going to stay at that frequency. You're going to stay at that level. You're never going to be able to get to the next level if you don't solve the problems at your current level right now. So it's really important to surround yourself with incredible people that can give you thought-provoking questions to invite you to go deeper, but you have to be the one willing to put in the work. And acceptance comes, you have to learn to be vulnerable. And again, that's I think I've done an entire podcast episode of myself just on vulnerability, because I know I do an entire module with it with my one-on-one girls, because when it comes to building any sort of relationship, if it's with yourself, with your with business, money, intimacy, with your energy, with whatever it is, whatever relationship you're trying to build, you have to have a certain level of vulnerability and intimacy that can help sustain and nurture it. And a lot of the times we have a hard time being vulnerable with ourselves until we hit rock bottom. And then we're kind of forced to look at ourselves in the mirror and decide if we want to keep living that way or change.
Yeah.
And part of that comes with, identifying, and then, acceptance.
Yeah.
And acceptance is it's the second stage in mindfulness, where I talk about the RAIN method: recognize, accept, investigate, and non-identify with your emotions, which I talk about more in my book that's coming out on Amazon. So that's cool. Plug there.
Yeah.
Love that for me.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to like something to accept it, by the way. Fun fact.
Yeah. And there are a lot of things. So at some point I wrote down, which I guess I tried to say earlier. I don't know. It says acceptance is opening your heart to the realities of life and to the ways in which you have been impacted by your life choices. Mm. So, of course, those are not always good things. You don't have to like it. I don't like a lot of the things that I did, but they apparently got me to where I am now, so...
Yeah, you are allowed to do things like self-love and accept yourself without loving every aspect of yourself. You can accept something like, hey, I'm going to accept that my car is broken down right now, and what am I going to do to fix it, and then put a game plan in motion. I accept that I have an issue or self-sabotaging behavior. Okay, what am I going to do to fix that one thing?
Yeah.
You don't have to like anything to accept it.
Yeah.
Just like when your ex starts dating somebody new, you can accept that they've moved on, but you don't have to like them.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah. Shit, I was always thrilled. Good luck to you.
Good luck to you. What are good ways to practice self-acceptance?
Identify your strengths. Set goals. Celebrate your accomplishments. Think positively.
All right, Kyrstyn, how do you celebrate your accomplishments? Please tell me how you celebrate your accomplishments.
I go to bed because I'm tired.
Oh. So the necessity of sleep. Sleep is not a reward. It's a necessity here.
All right, well.
Welcome to Spiritually Sober, where I coach my wife for free.
Yeah, and I don't listen half the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Until I figure it out on my own.
Absolutely. That's how some of us learn.
Look, I am, even today, I was making something and I was like, look, babe, look what I did.
I know, you're adorable.
See?
You're killing it.
I know. So, yeah, I do celebrate my accomplishments.
You sure do.
I yell across the house to you about that.
Validation from your wife.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to keep going with my list?
Yeah, keep going. Keep going with your list.
All right. Forgive yourself.
Do you?
Depends. yeah, for my past, yeah.
You know what? We're not talking about me.
We're not, but
I will say forgiving myself it's still continuously very hard thing.
Yeah.
And celebrating my accomplishments has been hard because I set very high expectations for myself, And when I accomplish something, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the bare minimum. What do you mean?
Yeah.
And then I don't celebrate it, which is a very conflicting thing when you have a relationship with yourself and you're growing a relationship with yourself, because if you don't pat yourself on the back, it's like a little kid saying, look, I got an A+. And you're like, okay, cool. Go away. They're going to learn that that is just the bare minimum, beat themselves up for anything less.
Yeah.
And it's just a toxic relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
So learning how to celebrate your successes, it's a hard one for us overachievers.
Yeah. It's like, so I have like two different parts of my life.
Yeah.
Like half the time I'm like, that was nothing. Like, I guess I did all right, you know? And then the other half, like, because I'm just so dramatic, I'm running through the house and I'm like, look what I did. And you're just like, yeah. So it's like the really small, silly things I'm like way excited about. And then like the things that I actually put in all this effort into, I'm just like, it was fine.
Yeah, like the altar for the wedding that you built in an afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's now our a beautiful entertainment center. You're like, yeah, that's no big deal.
No big deal.
It's fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, no big deal.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that.
It's all about perspective.
Yeah.
All right, forgiveness for yourself, which for me, like, it's funny, like gratitude is an entire module that I have with my course, but forgiveness is also one. Because forgiveness, especially as a CEO, but when you're, battling and doing any sort of self-development work, forgiveness is so hard because it comes with every stage, which is why it can be an entire thing in itself. And I have, I think, a meditation on Insight Timer. If you guys check out the Insight Timer app with free meditations, I have a forgiveness one on there. If you really need a good time to just cry, go listen to that meditation.
Everybody's like, yeah, that sounds fun. I'm going to go cry.
Sometime. You know what was the last time you cried?
It's been a few months.
Yeah. It's good to cry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. I agree.
Moving on.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us, guys. We are posting, I think what we're going to do episodes weekly, which is dope.
I'm trying really hard.
Yeah. You're killing it, babe. You're killing it.
We had some audio issues.
Yeah, the audio issues has been a thing. So please let us know if our audio is getting better or worse. Getting out there on all platforms. Share this stuff to as many people as you can. If you put us on your story and tag us in it, please. We want to see who's interacting, who's listening. Because if we can help as many people as possible, that was just reaching one more person is just the goal. And providing all the beautiful value. So yeah, please check out our Facebook page, link in bio.
Yes. Link in bio.
Link in bio. Otherwise, message us anytime. My website is freespiritbarbie.com. Our website, I should say. And I'm freespirit_Barbie on Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah. I'm going to just put my Instagram in
the bio
because, yeah.
You can just also see her tagged on all my stuff. So, love you guys. Protect your energy. Go do something for yourself. And, anything else?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Kill it.